Hi, my name is Jim Wood. I'm president and CEO of SEG Solar. SEG Solar is a USA-based, Houston, Texas-based manufacturer. We're 100% US owned, and everybody that's involved with that has ownership in SEG Solar is based here in Houston, Texas, and the US. This is our cell stringer. We like to start our tour off because our cell stringer is really one of the first crucial pieces of equipment here at SEG Manufacturing. This stringer is 1.3 times faster than any of the other stringers in the world. And because of that, we're able to have much more scale with less equipment and less capacity at our factory. The manufacturing process begins here at SEG Solar, where the glass is loaded into the equipment. This is a fully automated process. Our manufacturing, there are 0 hands touching the modules from beginning to end. There are no human hands involved with production of these modules. Once the glass is loaded into the equipment, it goes over to the EVA station where EVA is put onto the first sheet of glass. Then it goes through what we call the flattening, the EVA flattener and smoother, where it removes all of the wrinkles and ensures that the EVA is properly positioned onto the glass. When we first started our tour, we were actually on the opposite side of this machine where you saw the cells being cut, the first EL image happening, and then the cells were actually strung together. Then we went on to where the actual manufacturing process began, which is where the glass is picked up, EVA is put on, the EVA is then smoothed, and the wrinkles are removed from the glass and it's perfectly positioned onto the glass. And here is where the robotics actually lay the 12 strings that were cut at the first station that we showed you. They're actually laid on over the EVA. So this is the first step. We have precision robotics that are putting those cells and laying those 12 strings onto the EVA. The next step of our tour is where we get to the auto busing. This is where the bus bars are put on the module. There's 3 bus bars, one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. So this is where the bus bars are put onto the module. So as the module moves over here, this is where the second sheet of EVA is put over the cells. We then move over to where the next sheet of glass will go over that EVA. So what we have at this point is glass, EVA, cells, bus bar, EVA, and now we're adding the second sheet of glass that goes over the top of the module. Looking at the manufacturing at most manufacturers, there's only 2 EL images. Actually, at SEG, we do 4 EL images of the module. The first one happened when the cells were cut and strung. This is actually the second EL test that we do at the facility. So before the lamination process happens, we do an EL test. If there's any issues, any quality issues, cracking, chipping, anything that could be spotted at this point, then the modules are kicked off the assembly line, and they'll go through a QA/QC process where they're either repaired or they're recycled and not used. You know, they say in Texas, it's bigger, it's larger, they do everything bigger here in Texas. It's no exception here at SEG Solar. Here in Houston, we have the largest laminating equipment anywhere in the world. So if we can kind of imagine, the process began with a sheet of glass, then there was some EVA, then we had the cells, and then we had a second sheet of EVA, a second sheet of glass. We've had our second EL image testing. Now it goes through the lamination process. Once it goes through the lamination process, the 2 sheets of glass and the cells are essentially permanently sandwiched together. The lamination process is going to heat that glass, it's going to heat that EVA, and it's going to melt together. As we get to the last quarter section of the lamination equipment, this is actually where the modules at this point are going to be cooled. So this is the cooling section of the lamination process. We've just come through the lamination process where the modules are cooled. They go through what we call the first and second trimming, where the EVA that comes out of the side of the modules is actually trimmed off the sides. And then we have our third EL image, where we're looking again for any additional QA/QC issues. Has there been any cracking, any chipping of cells? Are there any quality issues in the module? Again, this is the third EL image throughout the process. Again, most module manufacturers only do 2. Here at SEG, we actually do 4 EL images on our modules. After the modules have come through the third EL image and everything's been trimmed, all the residue from the lamination process has been removed from the edges of the glass. This comes through, and this is actually a visual inspection station where the modules are coming through very quickly. The module is flipped up on its side. There's actually a human being on the opposite side of this looking at the module as they come by very quickly and doing a quick visual inspection. Prior to this, there's been EL images where throughout the automated process where there's an electroluminescent image, and that is actually an automated process. However, this is the first visual human being process where we actually have a human looking at the module as it's flipped up and doing a visual inspection. It's not an automated process by the robot. As we mentioned earlier, the modules are coming off. There's just been a visual inspection through the process, and now we'll come to the framing portion of when frames are put on the modules. So again, this is a fully automated process, soup to nuts. From the start to the end, there are no human hands touching the modules. And now the automated equipment is installing the frame around the module. Now that we have the frame on the module, we're actually, the machinery is attaching the junction box. From my experience from many of the factories that I've visited in both China and Southeast Asia, this is still done by hand. Here, the junction box is attached through an automated process. Now that the modules have come through and the junction boxes are attached, there's potting material, and the modules will now come through the curing line. In the curing line, it's perfect humidity, perfect temperature. This is about a 3-hour process as the modules go through the curing line. A very specific temperature and humidity are maintained so that it's perfectly cured and weather sealed. This is where the module IV curve test happens. The IV curve test is where all the flash test data is acquired. Prior to the flash test, or before the sun simulator as we call it, there's actually where the golden module is housed. This is where the module that calibrates all of our equipment before it goes into the flash test is stored. As we move forward, we have our high potential testing machine. This just ensures that there's no leakage through the frames, any current leakage. So we're testing for high potential degradation, high potential leakage in the module. And finally, here is our 4th EL image. So this is the last EL image as the module goes through the whole manufacturing process. At this point, we're checking to see, again, is there any micro cracking? Is there any chipping? Is there any damage to the module? This is the last and final kind of QA/QC point through the manufacturing process where the 4th EL image happens. As the module goes through the EL, after it's finished flash testing, there's an EL image. Actually, at the labeling equipment, the laser scribe will actually put the serial numbers on each module at this point. We know what the module is flashed at. It moves forward. There's a last visual inspection where the module is filmed. There's multiple images taken of that module, and then it's sorted and goes through our binning process. The modules have come through. They've already been sorted, and now they're packaged. The modules are the packaging is finished. The pallets are sorted here by the bin of the modules, and they go out to the trucks. And this kind of completes the process here at SEG of manufacturing a solar module here in Houston, Texas.